Imagine a world where great white-sailed ships never crossed the Atlantic in search of new lands. What if, in 1492, Christopher Columbus had looked at the horizon and decided to turn back, convinced there was nothing but endless water? Or perhaps a colossal storm swallowed his caravels before he could shout "land ho!" Today, we'll dive into a fascinating idea. What if the Americas had never been colonized by Europeans? Let's imagine how the world would be different, from the untouched forests of the New World to the empires that might have flourished without the arrival of conquistadors. Buckle up, because this story will take us to unexpected places, full of possibilities that will make your head spin. I'm as curious as you are to see how this unfolds, so let's go. First, we need to understand what never colonized means. In our alternate history, the indigenous peoples of the Americas, from the Aztecs in Mexico to the Iroquois in the Northeast, continue their trajectories uninterrupted by Europeans. No Spanish, Portuguese, English, or French arrivals. No courts challenging the Aztec Empire, no pilgrims landing at Plymouth, no forts or Jesuit missions. This doesn't mean the Americas stay frozen in time like an untouched painting. Far from it. Native peoples had complex societies with trade, wars, alliances, and innovations. So, what happens when we let these cultures develop on their own? Let's paint this picture together, starting with what might have changed right away. First, let's go to Mexico, or rather, the region we call Mesoamerica. In the early 16th century, the Aztec Empire is at its peak. Tenochtitlan, its capital, is a breathtaking city with canals glinting under the sun, towering pyramids, and markets so bustling they'd make any European city of the time seem like a sleepy village. Without Hernan courts and his small band of conquistadors, the Aztecs don't face the invasion that toppled their empire in 1521. That means Moctezuma II remains in power, and the empire keeps expanding. But here's something interesting. The Aztecs weren't exactly beloved by their neighbors. Tribes like the Tlaxcalans, who in our history allied with the Spanish, might have rebelled on their own. I picture an epic war, feathered warriors clashing on open fields as Tenochtitlan struggles to maintain its dominance. Would the Aztecs have ruled all of Mesoamerica, or would another power like the Tarascans have stolen the spotlight? I can't help but imagine a Central America unified under a native empire. What do you think? Have you ever considered that? Meanwhile, further south, the Inca Empire stretches across the Andes like a serpent of stone and gold. Without Francisco Pizarro's ambush of Atahualpa, the Incas remained strong. They were already masters of agriculture, with mountain terraces that seemed to defy gravity, and a road network rivaling Rome's. Without colonization, the Incas might have expanded further, perhaps reaching what's now Argentina or even Brazil. I wonder how fascinating it would be to see the Incas developing advanced metal tools or even creating their own writing system, something they never did in our timeline. Here's a wild thought. What if the Incas and Aztecs had eventually met? Picture an Inca envoy crossing forests and deserts to reach Tenochtitlan, bearing gifts of gold and promises of alliance. Would that spark a Native American superpower or ignite an epic rivalry? Now, let's jump to North America, where things are a bit different. Here, there are no centralized empires like the Aztecs or Incas, but a tapestry of nations, the Iroquois, Cherokee, and Plains peoples. Without European colonizers bringing guns, horses, and devastating diseases, these societies evolve at their own pace. One thing that fascinates me is how the Iroquois, with their five-nation confederacy, might have become a dominant force in the Northeast. They already had a sophisticated political system, with councils and laws that some say even inspired the U.S. Constitution. Without colonial pressure, could the Iroquois Confederacy have expanded, uniting other tribes into an even greater alliance? I imagine fortified villages growing into cities, trade flourishing along the Great Lakes. Maybe they'd even develop their own script, based on the wampum belts they used to record treaties. Isn't that thrilling to think about? As I explore these ideas, I can't help but get excited. If you're enjoying this journey through a world where the Americas chart their own course, How about leaving a like to help me keep imagining these incredible scenarios? And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. There's so much more to come. Now, back to our story. Let's zoom in on what's happening across the Atlantic, because Europe wouldn't just stand still without the Americas. In 16th century Europe, the absence of American colonization would have huge consequences. Think about it. Without gold and silver from Potosi or Zacatecas, the economies of Spain and Portugal don't get the boost that turned them into superpowers. Spain, for example, can't fund its religious wars with New World wealth, so maybe Philip II's reign is far less grand. Could England or France, without colonial competition, have taken the lead earlier? Or perhaps the Ottoman Empire, already knocking on Europe's door, grows even stronger without Spain distracted by overseas conquests. I imagine a world where Istanbul, not Madrid or London, becomes the global power center. Meanwhile, the Americas, free from European influence, keep developing their own technologies, cultures, and maybe even philosophies. But here's something that makes me pause: disease. In our history, Europeans brought smallpox, measles, and other plagues that wiped out up to 90% of native populations in some regions. Without this catastrophe, the Americas would be far more populous. Cities like Tenochtitlan could have grown to millions, rivaling any Asian or European metropolis of the time. And with more people come more ideas, more trade, more innovation. Could Native Americans have built ships to cross the oceans themselves? I picture an Aztec explorer landing on Spain's coast in 1600, staring at Gothic cathedrals and thinking, interesting, but our pyramids are way cooler. That idea gives me chills. It's so fascinating. Now, let's reach the climax of our imaginative journey, because an unexpected player is about to enter the scene: China. In our timeline, the Ming Dynasty was turning inward, but without European competition at sea, maybe the Chinese revived their naval expeditions, like Zheng He's 5th-10th century voyages. What if, instead of Columbus, Chinese ships were the first to reach the Americas? Imagine fleets of massive junks anchoring off California or Peru, where the Incas greet them with suspicion but also curiosity. The Chinese bring silk, porcelain, and gunpowder, while the Incas offer gold and potatoes. Yes, potatoes, which would revolutionize global agriculture. This meeting could spark a trans-Pacific trade alliance with ideas and technologies flowing between Asia and the Americas. Suddenly, the world doesn't revolve around Europe, but around an axis connecting Shanghai to Cusco. How's that for a plot twist? As this new reality takes shape, we see a planet utterly different from ours. By the 18th century, while Europe is still mired in wars and revolutions, the Americas thrive as a mosaic of native nations, some allied with China, others forging their own paths. The Iroquois Confederacy might have become a trading powerhouse, exchanging furs and maize for Chinese tools. The Aztecs, now with a phonetic script inspired by Asian contact, write epics about their victories. And the Incas, their roads paved with near-futuristic precision, build an empire that makes Rome look modest. But it's not all perfect. Rivalries between these nations could lead to wars, and China's arrival, though peaceful at first, might bring its own complications, like struggles for influence. Still, it's a vibrant world, bursting with colors, languages, and ideas we've never seen in our history. As this adventure ends, I can't help but reflect. Without European colonization, the Americas wouldn't be a mirror of Europe or Asia. They'd be something entirely unique, shaped by their own voices. Maybe today we'd have pyramid-shaped skyscrapers or festivals where native drums blend with Chinese gongs. What intrigues me most is imagining how we, living in that world, would view history. Would we tell stories of a mysterious old world across the sea, where people build castles and feud over thrones? Now, I want to hear from you. How do you think your life would be different in this uncolonized Americas? Would you be dancing at an Aztec festival or sailing with an Inca explorer to Asia? Drop your ideas in the comments. I can't wait to hear what you imagine.